Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our environmental conversation. I'm still here with Mr. Timothy Perry. Welcome back to the program again. You know, we continue the conversation where we ended it from. I would like us to move to Lower Zambezi because this is another conversation that has been in the public, and people are divided. They're not sure where they stand. Are we objecting to people's jobs? Where do we stand as a nation?
Okay. So, talking about mining in Lower Zambezi,
Yes.
because of the debate that's been running over the last few months, for those that support mining and those that are against that mine in a national park, I feel a lot of facts and truths have been lost along the way. Notice that the debate now seems to be a debate between mining versus tourism. It is not a debate
That's not
about choosing between mining and tourism. We understand the value of mining. We understand that mining has been the cornerstone of Zambia for a very long time.
Yes.
No one is questioning that.
Undisputed.
Definitely undisputed. The argument is mining in a protected area okay? That's what environmentalists are questioning.
Okay.
Further background, mining has been a key cornerstone of Zambia. The majority of the development that came through in the 50s, 60s, right up to today, is largely a contribution from the mining sector. So no one would stand up and say, we do not support mining. Mining is a cornerstone for the country. However, our founding fathers, from the time we got independence, have continuously emphasized one thing, that as a country, we need to diversify our economy.
Yes.
We cannot depend on mining alone for so many reasons. One, prices fluctuate.
They don't.
And there was a time when prices for copper were so low, as a country, we were hit. And that's when the emphasis on diversifying the economy actually got even stronger. So we have to look at agriculture as an economic sector. We have to look at tourism as an economic sector. So all these sectors are part of the economy.
Yes, they are.
It's to no one's advantage to say the economy should only be mining. No one benefits from that. What we're saying is, let mining be done at the right places and let it be done correctly with respect to the environment. Let tourism also be conducted. Let it be a thriving economic sector. Pre-COVID, before COVID hit us, the largest growing economic sector in Zambia was actually the tourism sector. Anyone that's against tourism just to defend mining doesn't care about the well-being of Zambians, because tourism is the future for this country. All the minerals we're mining will once upon a time come to an end. They are all diminishing resources.
Yeah.
The only sector that will always be there, provided we take care of the ecosystems and the wildlife, is actually tourism. That's one of them that's sustainable.
Okay.
So you have to support tourism. Whether you are in mining or not, you have to support tourism because it's a key economic sector. So the issue is mining in a national park okay?
Okay.
That's the question. And the answer for those of us that support nature is no, it's not okay. Because tourism is also important, and tourism depends on the wildlife that you get in these national parks. If you look at Zambia as a whole, like I mentioned earlier, we have just over 752,000 square kilometers of that amount of land, we chose to keep 30% for wildlife. So out of all that land, we said, you know what? Wildlife is important. And wildlife is not just animals, it's also the vegetation.
It is.
30% will be for wildlife. If we chose to dedicate 30% to wildlife, why should we now get into that 30% and start damaging part of it because we want more mining? We are saying leave that 30% for wildlife. Now, the counter argument you get is that anyone that supports wildlife does not care about the people.
Yes.
You NGO people,
You're prioritizing wildlife.
you love animals more than people. No.
It's not founded.
It's a populist argument. And if people don't think deeply, it sounds like a sensible argument and they'll clap.
Yes.
But let's look at the reality.
Yes.
Who owns that wildlife? It's the people of Zambia. If we say we want to keep that wildlife, we're keeping it for the people of Zambia, for ourselves as the current generation, and for future generations as well. When you get to the flag of Zambia, you have orange, which represents mineral resources. Yes, it represents copper, but it represents all mineral resources. The flag is dominated by green. What does green mean?
Vegetation.
It means vegetation, it means natural resources, it means wildlife as well.
Yes.
So how then do you say anyone that is in favor of the green part of the flag does not care about the people of Zambia? You're not being realistic.
It's illogical.
The people of Zambia will not stay alive for more than 10 years if you damage all the natural resources. You need those natural resources for these people to survive. Now, I understand the argument that tourism has not done enough.
Okay.
I agree with that. I will not.
In terms of impacting the community.
Yes, I will not support blindly. I understand that's the truth. Tourism has done something, but there is more it has done. And even as an environmentalist, I would like to challenge everyone in the tourism sector. Over the last 50 years, why hasn't tourism developed a big primary school that houses 1,200 pupils in Lower Zambezi? Why isn't there a secondary school that houses 600 pupils in Lower Zambezi? Why don't we have a top hospital in Lower Zambezi from tourism, sponsored by tourism, not bringing in government? I know people will say, but that's not the responsibility of individuals, it's the responsibility of government. Wake up call. If you think government will take development to each and every corner of Zambia without us as individuals doing something, we will wait for the next 1,000 years. We have a role to play, and tourism is a profitable sector. Yes, COVID has come and it's hit tourism badly, but as tourism recovers, let the Tourism Association in Lower Zambezi come together. Let them build 2 schools, 1 primary school, 1 secondary school. Let them build a hospital. There is more tourism can do for that local community. The reason why locals on the ground appear to support mining, it's more out of spite and rebellion. It's not because they really want mining. They also know eventually those benefits will run out. They can only last 40 years to 50 years at the most. They know that. But it's because they feel they haven't benefited enough from tourism that now they must accept the devil. The alternative is in reality the devil.
It is, yes. Because it's eventually killing out the...
Yes, it will damage the environment. That's not an argument.
Yes.
Anyone that says mining inside the national park can be done side by side with taking care of the vegetation and animals, it sounds good. It sounds populist if you want dollars from the minerals.
But unrealistic.
It's unrealistic because in Zambia itself, if we go to Lokimva National Park, visit the locals in Lokimva National Park, surrounding communities to that park, ask them what that mine has done to the environment. Ask them how many people that mine has employed. They are complaining. The chiefs are complaining. The headmen are complaining. But when that mine was being introduced, they were in support of the mine. They thought they would benefit. This mine in Lower Zambezi, it will bring employment.
Coming with a Zen script.
Yes, it will bring, no one is arguing, the development will come, the jobs will come. But what will be the quality of the jobs that the locals get? Will there be mineral engineers, mining engineers employed amongst the locals? How many trained engineers are part of the local community right now? You think this mine won't want experts that they'll bring in from South Africa, from Northwestern Province, from the mines on the Copper Belt? You think they won't want the best engineers? They will start training locals now and wait for the next 4 years so that they can employ them to show they are faithful to the local community. You think that's what's going to happen?
Yeah.
We need to be realistic.
Yes.
The number of jobs the mine will provide is not the same as the number of jobs tourism can provide. Yes, tourism should have done more. The fact that it hasn't done enough does not mean it's bad. We should not suddenly throw the bathwater together with the baby. If you feel there are weaknesses with tourism, then deal with those weaknesses. Make tourism the perfect economic sector you want it to be. Do not discard tourism because of weaknesses you feel are there. Let us deal with the weaknesses. Let us see how more people can benefit from tourism. Let's see how locals can be engaged in the sector also as owners and not just workers. If those are the problems, let's sort out those problems and make tourism thrive. But I'm totally against the idea that because we haven't got what we wanted from tourism, we should do away with tourism. We should replace it with mining. That's a flawed solution and argument. It won't take us anywhere.
Then another question comes in. How does an ordinary farmer, or how does farming relate to the environment, and how can they two go side by side?
Talking about farming,
Yes.
you know there is also farming taking place in Lower Zambezi.
The
So as an alternative economic sector, it's not just tourism.
Yeah.
Farming is also an alternative.
It is.
Fish farming is an alternative
It is.
in Lower Zambezi. So the idea that now all we can see
is mining
are precious minerals in Lower Zambezi and to hell with everything else.
So many alternatives.
Let us be realistic. There's so many alternatives. All we need is to see how best we can use those alternatives. We can mine in the rest of the 70% of the country. Let's leave the 30% dedicated to national parks, wildlife. Let's leave it for that. It's only 30%. We've got the 70% to deal with the other economic aspects. Otherwise, if our aim is to damage every protected area, provided we find a mineral there, we will have no forests, we will have no wildlife. If we think we'll survive without these natural resources, we are deceiving ourselves. We need those natural resources. There is a reason there is a green in our national flag. If we were meant to depend on minerals only, there would be no green. It would have been orange for minerals. Then we all become billionaires and die because all the trees and animals are gone anyway.
Die from poor health.
Exactly. So we need the green part of the national flag. It's part of our heritage. Future generations will ask us about these resources. They'll ask us why we permitted mining in areas where it had no business being. They'll ask these questions and we'll fail to answer. If we want to have the answers then we take action now. We protect the 30% dedicated to forests and national parks. It's only 30%.
I get it.
Yeah.
So, for someone that is watching Mizu and they seem fascinated with the work that has been done by the institution.
There's one part I didn't finish answering. I diverted back to
Why that's what I had to.
Agriculture. Agriculture.
Yes.
There are two sides to agriculture. Agriculture is a key economic sector. In fact, it has the potential to be the biggest economic sector in Zambia because we have a lot of water resources
and arable land.
And arable land. Some of the richest soils in Southern Africa are here in Zambia. So we have the potential to be a powerhouse in terms of producing goods. And what COVID revealed to us is that we are underutilizing the agricultural sector. Okay. It was clear through COVID that we import too much of the food. Yes. And we were stuck when we were no longer able to import that food.
Because of the lockdown.
Then we were forced to look at our local farmers. Why haven't we respected them all this time? True. Why haven't we empowered them all this time? True. Why the emphasis on importing? What's this obsession we have with being a consumer country? Why are we not the economic hub of Southern Africa? I love South Africa. It's a brother sister country. But I feel bad when I look at how far ahead they are how far ahead of us they are. Because we have the potential to match them up, if not surpass them. Not only in agriculture, but even in tourism. The natural resource base we have is much, much larger than South Africa. That's the reason why they market their tourism using our Victoria Falls. Yes. Because there is something we are not doing that's supposed to take us even ahead of South Africa. Of course, it's not something that will happen in 5-10 years, but if we have that vision, we have the potential to be a major economic powerhouse, not only in Southern Africa, but in Africa. So agriculture is a key economic sector. The challenges we're having with agriculture is that we're not empowering our small-scale farmers. Okay. Agriculture, as it's practiced now, is actually bad for the environment because the emphasis is on artificial fertilizers. The emphasis is on hybrid seeds. Yes. Why is the emphasis on things we know our small-scale farmers cannot afford? Good question. FISIP, Farmer Input Supply. Yes. Some Farmer Input Support Program. Why is it that we take pride in being able to provide a farmer with 3 to 4 bags? Is that enough for them to grow food for themselves and also sell to make extra money? It's not enough.
No, it's not.
Why do we take pride in giving hybrid seed at a subsidized rate? Why don't we teach our farmers to produce their own organic manure so that they can produce as much as they want to produce as much food for themselves and extra to sell? That's how they will become rich.
It will make the seed companies useless.
Yes, because we have to choose. As of now, the seed companies are gaining wealth whilst our people suffer. I would rather we have our people gain wealth and let the seed companies compete with them. We cannot empower the seed companies at the expense of our small-scale farmers. That doesn't make sense. So let's teach them how to make their own organic manure. Let's promote our indigenous seeds. Seeds they don't have to buy. Seeds they've used for the last 1,000 years and they can use for the next 1,000 years. All we need are seed banks in every district where farmers can take seeds they have and collect seeds they don't have. then everyone ends up with seeds
Mm.
for free. No one has to plant half a field because I cannot afford the hybrid seed. We cut out
the monopoly of seed.
Exactly.
Mm.
Why do we want to be dependent on a system that's meant to disadvantage us? What gain is there in that? What gain is there in empowering multinationals providing fertilizers that are artificial? Empowering multinationals that are making their seeds with the power to only be grown for 3 years. Then you go back to them. Plant, you try and grow it for the next 3 years, the yield goes down, then you go back to them. Why do they want you to keep on going back to them to buy seed? Because they'll be making money. And our emphasis should not be money. Our emphasis should be what is the best way to empower our people. Mm-hmm. If we give them the opportunity to use their own indigenous seeds and circulate those seeds in the communities, why shouldn't that be the best way forward? And notice, because of the artificial fertilizers, because of the pesticides that come with using the artificial fertilizers and the hybrid seeds, we are polluting the environment.
Yes.
We are degrading the soils.
Yes.
And that practice of bad agriculture is partly responsible for the climate issues we have, for climate change. Agriculture becomes a driver for climate change. But notice, if we use organic fertilizers, organic manure, mm-hmm. we regenerate the soils. Mm-hmm. We make them healthy. We make them rich. If the soils are rich, the entire ecosystem around farming areas also blossoms.
Yes.
If we use organic pesticides, the insects continue to flourish and their population increases. That means more pollination. Yes. From the insects. Yes. That is good for ecosystems. So why are we not supporting the type of agriculture through agroecology, through holistic management, through permaculture? Why are we not pushing the agenda for the type of agriculture that's good for the environment? Why are we pushing the type of agriculture that we know disempowers our people and damages the environment? We need to make a better choice.
Therein lies the question today. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a conversation with Mr. TK Piri concerning everything to do with environment and all the advocacy that we've been doing as Mizu. How can they contact Mizu?
You can get in touch with Mizu through our website, which is www.mizuecocare.org, or you can email us on info@mizuecocare.org.
Now, as you look at the camera, what will be your final remarks to the general public?
My final remarks to the general public is, as a nation, each one of us as an individual has an inherent responsibility to take care of the environment. Each one of us has a responsibility to play our role. Yes, there are multiple stakeholders, there are NGOs, there is government, but we as individuals and as communities are a major stakeholder. And let's see the difference we can make as this strong collection of stakeholders that we call local communities. We can make a difference.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, catch you next time.